Hello, my name is Michael O'Keefe, aka The Movie Wizard. If you enjoy this interview and want to hear more top-notch film industry conversations, please press the thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell to stay in the know. So Pepe Avila del Pino, you work on a lot of hot TV shows such as HBO's The Deuche and Netflix Ozark. I want to say, first of all, congratulations on your success, and how did you get into this industry?
Oh, well, I've been trying or attempting to work on film since I've been a teenager. I started in Mexico, where I'm from, Mexico City. But, we all take all sorts of strange routes to get to where we are now. But I started as a PA, a production assistant in commercials, and I did every sort of thing, to like assistant editor, assistant director, and then directing a little bit. And it wasn't until I moved to New York that I started finding cinematography first as a hobby and then as a way to pay the bills, because directing was not happening then. And then little by little I started taking over as my main sort of income and my main profession. It was mostly short format stuff like music videos and smaller commercials, and I did a couple of feature films, indie feature films, and that's what led me to these TV shows eventually.
Very cool. So a film you shot called The Kindergarten Teacher is screening this year at TIFF. Can you tell our audience what the plot is of this film?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, particularly with this film. It's basically a kindergarten teacher who is unhappy with the lack of art and inspiration in her daily life with her family and her own children. And she thinks she finds sort of a genius in a 7-year-old kid, like a poet genius. And her own disenchantment with life plus her own ambitions are move her towards trying to nurture the genius of this kid, but she takes that into really extreme paths.
Interesting.
That are a little scary and unnerving in a way.
Sure. So, from your point of view, how would you describe the visual style that you created on The Kindergarten Teacher?
There were two things that were important for us. Balancing the tone, because I think the story itself is very particular. It's unique in the sense the director is balancing a little bit of what is a love story and a thriller. There are hints of something like a psychological thriller there, but it's never fully quite grasping any of these genres. So visually, that was a challenge. It was how to maintain the tone, and at some points of the story, kind of tip it a little more into the tension, and when to make it like an earnest love story moment. And then the second aspect was to portray New York in both ways. How could daily life could be really similar to life any other where in the world, where it's just sharing dinner with your family, and then how it can be like an overwhelming city with a lot of cultural events happening and seems vibrant, but it's isolating in a way. So those two elements, I think, were the main approach.
That's interesting. So you shot the pilot for The Deuce. The show creator, David Simon, is deservedly revered for The Wire, and I would love to hear about what he's like as a guy and what your interactions with him were like.
Well, it's David. I'm going to say it's David Simon and George Pelecanos. Both of them.
Right.
They're the writers, and they both did The Wire together too.
Mm-hmm.
I think they complement each other, not only in their writing but in their personalities. Both of them. George is a much more quiet guy. David is always he can engage in any sort of conversation about any subject at any time.
Wow.
And it's always super fun to hear. He's very particular David is very particular about being extremely accurate to the time period, to the circumstance that we're shooting. There's nothing, he wouldn't allow anything to be shot just for the sake of movie magic or filmmaking. It has to move the story forward, and it has to be real to the circumstances or the context. And he wouldn't let that go. I mean, even the music that's sounding on the radio or the billboards that are on the marquees or anything has to be completely 100% confirmed that it was the right thing for in that time. And other than that, I think he's really respectful of the filmmakers that are involved, the director, the production designer, me, and he let us bring in our own creative input into the project.
That's so cool. The Wire is amazing, and haven't seen the Deuce yet, but it's one of those things. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna watch it eventually, and it's amazing you worked on
coming
that.
Soon too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how did you get that time period for the Deuce? You said that David Simon was very detail oriented. What kind of research did you do to make sure you got that look right?
It's funny because the first approach that me and the director had was like, oh, let's look at all these amazing films from the 70s that were shot in New York, like, I don't know, Serpico, Taxi Driver, French Connection. And that was basically just to inform us what the streets look like. And it's really hard because New York City now has city bikes all over the city, or there's trees. There didn't used to be any trees around that time at all. There was a lot of garbage. There was not, even the ramps in the sidewalks or the wheelchairs, that's something completely new. So it was really hard to find a place where we could point a camera and make it feel like 71. So first of all, it was that. It was like just making sure what was actually impossible back then, like, for example, trees, and then really blocking the scenes for them to work in the really narrow scope we were able to shoot. And then, of course, the production designer made an amazing job just by setting up all the front stores and all the trash. There was also like a massive. There was a strike for all the people that work in the trash industry back then, so nobody was picking up the trash in New York City for like 8 months, I think. So, that was tough. But that's it.
That's very cool. So I'm sure you have a lot of people come up to you and say, "How do I get to where you are in this industry? I want to make movies. I want to be in the creative process." But they don't want to necessarily go to school. They had to keep paying the bills. How do you, if someone said, "I want to become a cinematographer, and I want to become sort of self-taught at it," what would you tell them to do?
Be on set. I mean, that's. I think the place where you learn the most is be on set. So if you can approach, even if it's smaller sets, and try to be helping with camera, a camera trainee, and make your way up, that's probably best way to learn. And then I would say the most important thing is read and watch movies and think about storytelling. And because in the end, it's just that. It's just like another way to tell a story. So you have something to say, just keep thinking about what's the best way to say it. And then once you have the tools to do it, it'll come together, I think.
Interesting. I was interested to see that you directed some shorts, and I was wondering if you could tell our audience a bit about the shorts you directed.
Yes. Well, the last one, I started my first interest in film was writing and directing. So, yes, I did I think I've done 6 or 7 short films. Some of them have been going around international festivals, and they've been okay. The last one I did was 5 years ago, and it was shot in Mexico. I hadn't been in Mexico for a while. It was a very personal story about my teenage years. 2 kids basically lost in the south of Mexico in a family trip. And it was great. It was a good experience to go back and reconnect with people that I used to make films a long time ago and try to put this together in a very intimate, friendly production kind of way.
Cool. So I'm wondering, with these very high-profile jobs at HBO and Netflix, how your life has just personally changed on that level.
Well, the hardest part is being on the road for a job. I really get to spend no time home. Home is New York for me now, but I'd say 9 months of the year I'm away. I'm somewhere remote, and I get my last job was in New Mexico, in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So that's hard. It's like you keep moving, you keep making relationships, try to have some sort of like routine and normal life everywhere you go. But then it's when the job is done, everything is done. All the connections are gone, and then you move back home for a little bit and start over again. So that's the hard part, I think. Just it's like a moving show.
Oh, okay, fair enough. What are your feelings of being on Twitter? I saw you on the Twitterverse, actually.
I actually I don't know how to use it. I'm really
Fair.
I don't know what to post there. I follow it for news. I mean, that's like a kind of quick, easy way to know what's going on around. But that's it. I'm really bad at that.
Well, at least you have an account. You know, that's not everybody has an
Right.
account, and you
Right.
tweet a little bit. So I think the last one was in July, but you know, whatever it is. So before I let you go, Pepe, it's been great chatting with you, learning about how you've carved your own success in this industry, very tough industry. What do you have planned for the future that you could talk about?
Well, nothing really. I mean,
Nothing?
really
Okay.
about yet. I'm like.
Are you going to be a
I
TIFF?
have a couple of TV shows maybe happening soon that I'm excited, but you never know until they're there. And that's it. I mean, I'm excited to where things are heading. So hopefully, pace keeps going. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's very exciting. These projects are fantastic that you're working on, and you know, congratulations. Will you be at Toronto for the premiere, the Canadian premiere of The Kindergarten Teacher?
I'm really hoping, or I'm trying to. So
Fantastic.
90% I'll be there. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully we bump into you there, and I wish you all the best and good luck in the future.
Thank you, Mike.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.